I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, the head coach for JobSearchCoachingHQ.com and NoBSCoachingAdvice.com. And I was asked a question I thought was great, and that is, a recruiter has asked me for references at the time of a first interview, and I really don't want to give it to them. So how can I say no to recruiters when they ask for references during an interview? Now, I want to differentiate and to say I want to start by answering the question for about contingency recruiters, because that's definitely a place to say no. They may tell you we need to check references on behalf of the client, and that's a great line, but what they're really doing is trying to use your contacts to go recruit other people. I know this because I've listened to sales trainers for years talk about this as a gambit to get great talent, and you don't want to be complicit. So the correct way to respond, or the easiest way to respond, is rather than take it on head on, you smile and say, in due time, but not right now. And if they say, well, we need to have it because the client wants us to check references at the time that we submit. And again, I want to be clear, I'm not talking about the retained search firms. I'm not talking about C-level professionals. I'm talking about, your typical average Jane or Joe who's in a job and is being approached by a recruiter. And, they say, we need the reference, the client wants it. I said, great, I'd be happy to provide it to the client. Well, they want us to check the references. Not at this time. Then we can't submit you. Okay. And leave it at that. And you know why? Because if they could get you in the door, they'd get you in the door. And they can't. What they're trying to do is parlay one contact into two or three, where they call them up and try to recruit them, ostensibly under the guise of checking a reference. So they might say, well, we need a former manager. And then they go from there to your manager and start off by doing a reference check and then try and flip it to get recruiting business from them. Or they may try to talk to a peer of yours about you and your work and say, by the way, this is a position I'm trying to recruit for. Is this something that might interest you? There's a lot of little gambits that go on among third-party recruiters. Now, I know some people are going to respond by saying, would you do that with a company? No. Unfortunately, too many third-party recruiters are sleazy. We know this already. So the idea is to push them off because you don't know if you can trust them yet. And wink, wink, most of them you probably can't. There are exceptions to this, but most of them you probably can't. And, it's like being on a first date with someone. Could you give me a reference of your former husband or wife? I'd like to speak with them, please. Or someone that you went out with previously, because I'd like to know what you're like by talking to them. No, not on a first date, especially with an absolute stranger. And obviously you would never do that in a dating situation. You get my point. Here, it's so important to very politely and with a smile on your face say, in due time. Yeah, we'll get to that, but the client wants it. That's okay. If you can't present me without that, then obviously you don't think I'm a fit. So we just leave it at that and move on. Hope you have a great day and take care.